Today we're in Evans City, Pennsylvania, 30 miles north of Pittsburgh, as we talk about a movie that made a major impact on America's cinema. Join me today on Walk with History as we go to the filming location of Night of the Living Dead.
Welcome to a night of total terror.
Evans City Cemetery was incorporated in 1891. There are a few Civil War veterans here. I see some GAR stars, which is the Grand Army of the Republic, so people who had served in the Civil War. But this is a relatively older cemetery. Sign is not here. In the movie, I think it was put up in 1985. This is the information sign as you drive up. It shows some of the rules and things like that, but it shows the chapel. And the graves for the movie are in this location, right about here. People consider George Romero, 1960 graduate of Carnegie Mellon, the father of the zombie film because he directed Night of the Living Dead. John Russo, who co-wrote the movie with him, still lives outside of Pittsburgh today. John Russo also plays a ghoul in the movie. I think he's the first one to get killed, something like that. Not the one in the cemetery, but killed with like a weapon. But this movie was such an impact on cinema. Multi-racial cast. The hero is African American. At the end, he comes out of the house. He's made it through the night. And he just gets shot because they think he's a zombie.
You, drag that out of here and throw it on the fire. Nothing down here. All right, go ahead down and give him a hand. Let's go check out the house, man.
There's something there. I heard a noise.
All right, then.
You have this movie where no one makes it. Your human nature has done itself in. And people walked out of the theater quiet, not knowing what to think. It just was not a feel-good movie. And it starts this idea that you don't have to have a winner. You can just see how people are going to react in a crisis. And sometimes it's not too pretty. So I believe in the movie, they come down this road here and then make a sharp turn and come up this way. And there's a metal sign here that says cemetery, and it looks like a diamond, and it has bullet holes in it. It's been replaced with this sign, Evans City Cemetery. But this is where you see the car driving up the hill with Barbara and Johnny going to visit their father's grave. So this is the location. So I'm sitting in front of the chapel that Barbara and Johnny park at before they go to visit their father's grave. This is the chapel at Evans City Cemetery. It's been restored, but this is the chapel. It's just a short walk from the chapel to the gravesite, right in that direction over there. And this is where the car was parked. This is where she gets chased to. This is where she leaves from. But this is the chapel.
There's nothing wrong with the radio. Must have been the station.
Which row is it in?
Well, there's no one around.
Well, it's late. If you'd gotten up earlier.
Oh, look, I already lost an hour's sleep on the time change.
I think you complain just to hear yourself talk. There it is.
So here I am in front of probably the most famous graves from the Night of the Living Dead. So this is the actual stone where Barbara and her brother Johnny will kneel to place the cross for their father. And there was a tree at one point right beside here, which you can kind of see a spacing for it. There's nothing there now. But this is the Cole grave, which Blair is the name you see. Grace's maiden name was Blair. So that's why she is buried here with her husband George. People have visited here, left coins and flowers. These are the two of the most famous graves. This is just a marker marking the Blair family, and then there's individual stones around for the Blair family. This is her mother. This is their father, and he was a private in the Civil War. And it looks like their brother was in the fire department here. People have left a bunch of coins to show that they have visited here. They come over and they bring their wreath for their father, and you can see the Blair. This is the kind of the same shot. And I think when they are looking up, I think it's back here that they start to see the person coming towards them who will end up being the zombie. Pretty sure it's in that general direction. That's coming from the back of the cemetery towards the front.
Well, you used to really be scared here.
Johnny,
You're still afraid.
stop it now. I mean it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
So in the movie, she's running away, which doesn't quite make sense logistically, because there would be that gravesite over there coming from that direction. But this is probably the only monument that was tall enough to lean on. And you see her kind of grab it and look so you can see the name like this. And then she kind of pushes off of it to run away.
Oh! No! No! Johnny! Help me!
So this is the monument, and I think these are the actual markers, because it says baby, it says WK Kramer, CK, AK. These correspond with the actual names on the monument: Alice and W. Kramer, Mary and Nicholas. So when Barbara's running and she leans on this monument, it's actually the family plot, just like Blair represents the family plot. This is the same thing. When Johnny is fighting the zombie, or the first glimpse that the audience gets of a ghoul, and he fights with him, and then he is pushed to the ground and he hits his head off a monument. He hits his head off of this monument, Clyde Lewis Myers, 1903 to 1966. Clyde Lewis Myers had a son who fought in the Korean War. It seems like this is the Myers plot. You have some Myers over here to the right of him, some Myers to the north, and then this is the tombstone that he actually falls on. It's not far from where they place the cross wreath for their father. It's right here, and it's right in front of the marker that she's running from. So the logistics is a little off, but it works. And then that is the chapel where they park the car. Because there's nothing here that shows that Nicholas Kramer served in the Civil War, I am going to leave a flag, and I'm going to leave it here, right here, because he deserves to be remembered, in my opinion, for his service to his country. So I'm going to leave this to him, for him. I am also going to leave a heart rock for Clyde Lewis Myers. This tombstone that they use, that Johnny hits his head on, It's interesting, they filmed in 1967. He died in 1966, so this would be a pretty fresh grave. I'm also going to leave another heart rock here for the Coles, George and Grace. Their marker is forever immortalized in Night of the Living Dead, the Blair from Grace's maiden name. So their impact that they had in the afterlife also on American cinema. This movie was filmed in 1967. It was filmed on a $1,000 budget, ended up grossing $30 million in the box office. They filmed it in a way that makes it documentary style, to make it feel real, to make it feel like it's happening in your rural town. And that is something that horror movie thrillers still do today. M. Night Shyamalan is big into that. Tons of horror movies do that. Like you're running with the person, you're with them. And that was the first time this was really done, and that's what made it so impactful for audiences. Also the first time they used an idea of a zombie. Romero was very much inspired by the book I Am Legend that was written in 1954. You know, Will Smith made that into a movie. Minimal makeup. People wore white makeup with like black eyes, and that's it. So this whole zombie movement. But this was the first movie to really do it. And it just started a cultural phenomenon.
An experience in shock, more shattering than your strangest nightmare. Night of the Living Dead.
So as I leave Evans City Cemetery, I just think about The Walking Dead and Zombie Apocalypse and Zombieland and all these movies nowadays that are such big box office draws. All these movies are impacted by Night of the Living Dead and how it was shot and the storyline. On to the next Walk with History.